already?
No, I haven't.
It says pre-live for me.
Well, I started the recording here, so that's the first thing before I forget that.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for everyone for joining us. My name is Anya, and we have other organizers of Data+Women as well, who I introduced in a second. So today, as you know, we're going to talk about career and how to focus on your career path and how to make sure that you are building a career that you will enjoy, but also that enable you to use your skills at the fullest. Before we continue with the presentation, if you can just make sure that you mute yourself, no mobile phones, but if you can mute yourself, that would be helpful for our presenters as well. So we are Data+Women group based in the Netherlands, mostly focused on Amsterdam, and we are actually a global initiative with different chapters in cities around the world, and we are striving to provide the space for women who work with data, with technology, to showcase their work and talk about their projects and their stories as well to inspire others. While we're called Data+Women, we are very welcome to see everyone joining our events, asking questions and participating in the community. So it's not only for women. So please feel free to join our events. So we have here a group of organizers for the group. It's Aline, it's me, Anya, Kautar, Marise, Rachel, and Timmy. So we have Kautar and Timmy on the call as well today. So we are the group of people who are organizing this event. So if you have any questions about this or any future event, please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn um, and email I'll provide in a second, and we'll be happy to either organize an event with you or support you in presenting. And that's how you can follow us on the platform that is set up specifically to track all our events. So if you go to this link or scan this QR code, you can see the events that we had and any other future events. And if you subscribe, you'll get notification about the next event. And if you do want to speak or if you want to host one of our events, we do events online, but also we do events in real life, in person. Feel free to complete the form. So if you can scan this QR code, you get the form that gets directly to us. You can also email us, data+womenamac@gmail.com. Also, if you have any questions or if you want to somehow participate in future events. And out with the housekeeping and some general details, this is our agenda for today. So today we start with a presentation from Andreea, who is a data and AI recruitment consultant, and then we're going to move on to a more a discussion type of panel where we have a very diverse set of powerful ladies today presented. We have Sai, who is a data engineer, Elizabetta, who is a global performance and analytics lead, and also Simona, who is a senior consultant. So you can see we have representatives from different types of data world, different types of work um, that they do in this career. And then the closing session, closing recap will be from Simona as well, who just came back from Tableau conference in San Diego. And so she will share some of the highlights and some of the updates that were presented at Tableau conference. So stay tuned, don't leave before that. And we will start now with Andreea. I'll pass the microphone to Timmy to present Andreea, and we will begin.
Oh, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Andreea. She's amazing. Um, she's really a power lady in recruitment. She also an expat here. She lived in multiple countries. So if you need a recruiter help, uh, please go to Andreea. She's really fighting for women in tech and data. she would be your best partner in this. So, Andreea, it's your stage.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Timmy. That's so nice to hear the great reviews. I was already planning to start with a disclaimer. I did this presentation for the first time, and the more I think about it, the more I added more information. But please feel free to stop me, ask me questions. If it's too much, we can also take it offline. If anybody has other topics they want to discuss or see in future presentations, please absolutely reach out to me. I'm always happy to talk, always happy to help. So yeah, that's why I'm here, because I love the community and what you guys are trying to do. And if I can help even one person, I'm happy to be here. All right, so I'm gonna start quickly with a little bit about myself. Timmy already said I lived in 6 different countries. I traveled the world. I had a whole different life before recruitment. I was in supply chain, sales, marketing, and I realized nothing was really bringing me that satisfaction, that motivation to get out of bed. So what I basically done, I looked inside myself and I realized that what I took pleasure in was interacting with people, coaching them, supporting them through career changes or even just learning new skills. So I decided a career in HR, learning and development, would be the path for me. Of course, starting with recruitment, because this is the best way to stay connected to the market, to understand people and see what makes them tick, what makes them function in the day to day. So that's why I'm here. 3 years ago, I restarted my whole career from scratch. And now I'm happy to say that it was the right decision for me. All right, now I'm taking you straight in. I know there's a lot of information on this site, and again, I can just give you like the overall highlight with what happened in the job market. I think you've all felt it recently. So COVID was a big surge of hiring, because every business, everything had to go online. So there was a bit of over hiring in order to fill that capacity of technical people. So what happened with the Netherlands especially, we brought people from abroad in order to make sure our platforms are functioning, there's security in place, there's data in place. So of course, all that overhiring, COVID is no longer a problem, or the platform is already set in place. You no longer need that many people to maintain something that you've already built. So we've seen 2023 mostly taking a big dive in overall the job market, but data as well. A lot of people have been made redundant. A lot of people have suffered on the back of this. And just now we're stabilizing a little bit. So we saw already Q4 2023, the first GDP growth in 2 years. So things are picking up, not as fast as we want, but I think they're looking promising. Towards the end of 2024 and now 2025, there's a forecast that the job market is going to grow by 5%, and even the inflation is going to decrease. So that is all good news. We just need to kind of stick through it a little bit longer, and it's going to get better for everyone out there. Feel free to stop me if you have questions. If not, I will continue, and at the end we can still discuss it a bit more in detail if you want. All right. As for the data market, I know that there's again like too many numbers in there. I'm going to try to give you like overall the look. What is happening right now is data engineering is still the backbone of every company, and every role is diversifying on top of that. So there's roles as analytics engineer, which is basically data engineer that can do analysis. There's machine learning engineer, and MLOps is very important right now on the market. But what we still see in the Netherlands more than everywhere else, or at least this is where I work, I know that the US and the UK market have it quite clear. In the Netherlands, you want to do more with less budget, less money. So, for example, there's still a bit of confusion on what a machine learning engineer should do, what a data scientist should do, what an analytics engineer should do. So at the moment, because the economy is so bad, companies want people to do a little bit of everything, to know a little bit of everything and be able to pivot based on what their processes are requiring. So that's why I still have clients that are asking for machine learning engineer, but with a software engineering background, and be able to set up the entire infrastructure. So it's still like the requirements are endless when it comes to these roles. So that's why it's still a little bit better to branch out and to always be on top of what's happening and which way I should go. Indeed, there's a trend now, and people keep talking about being cloud agnostic. But at the moment, so the present moment, in the future, it can get there. But at the moment, Azure is the most important cloud on the Dutch market. Around 80% of companies, especially the small to medium ones, are using the Azure cloud. Also, maybe because Databricks is the best integrated within Azure cloud, although right now it's branching out and all other clouds can use Databricks. This has been for me the tool that I've had in the past year, talked about from all sides. So both companies and candidates are all doing certifications and all trying to use Databricks and use it to the best of their abilities. So this is a little trick of if you want to stay ahead, Databricks can be something that can help you as well in the future. Again, Python is still the most demanded programming language, and what's coming more and more rapidly is the data streaming, and especially the real-time data streaming, because of everybody needs to have the information as soon as your customer clicks on your website, as soon as any movement is happening. So of course, tech stack like Apache Kafka, Spark Streaming, Azure Event Hubs, those are important tools to have going forward. This would be from the data market. I have also done information that I can deep dive if you ask me later or in a further presentation. There is still a bit of lagging in the data world. So people are not hiring as much, but we still see that in the last 12 months, 1,500 jobs were becoming available. But this is, again, data engineering, science, machine learning, data analysis. So there are still relevant roles, maybe less than last year, and more engaged talent and more people that want to move and change and make a career move for the better on the market. This is the information that whenever you reach out to me, I can share with you. I have these reports. I can definitely help you out if you need more information. All right. I hope everything is in. I can't see you, ladies, so I hope I didn't put anyone to sleep so far. It's still all good, yeah?
No, it's all very interesting. Thank you.
All right. Now we're going more into the candidate side, in your side, like your experience and how I see it and how I think even a little trick can help you going forward. First, and this is something I did for myself, but I think you also should look at from time to time, is and we all know all those inspiring quotes on the internet. You have to do what you love and you will not work a day in your life. I know it's not so easy and we still need to eat at the end of the day, but if you can have at least a clear direction of where you want to go and what motivates you, what brings you a bit of passion, that you can implement a little bit of that in your job, then you can definitely have a better trajectory. And I'm not saying don't try new things. If somebody offers you a role that you don't know if you can do, but you would be excited about, why not? But first you need to identify what would you like to do, what do you like, let's say, but also, are you confident in it? And is there something stopping you? And sometimes the thing that is stopping you is just your mind. I think I was telling Timmy we had a coffee date a while ago. There are studies that show that if women, for example, don't match at least 70% of the requirements of a job, they will not apply. However, if men match at least 50% of those requirements, they will apply anyway, because they have the confidence that they can pick up the rest of the things as they go. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I need you to believe in yourself more and to be confident that you can do it. And I'm going to also give you a few more tips and tricks on how to do it. But make sure you have what you need to move forward in your career, and confidence is the first step. All right. Again, a lot of information because I knew I had only half an hour and I'm already down to the last 10 minutes. Your image matters and you need to build your profile the right way. What does that mean? The CV is the first thing that you need to pay attention to. If you put all your energy into one thing, the CV is the one. Because a hiring manager spends 30 seconds looking at a CV. And I've heard of recruiters that only do a search word on your CV and then disqualify you automatically. So it's the best thing to put the effort is in your CV and your presentation. So of course, the position that you held, name, email, and address, everybody knows how to do. I would suggest a small introduction that says a bit about yourself. I would keep it original, so I would not put it only professional experience and achievements, but I would put even something personal in there to show that you are a person in your own right and you have a personality and that's how you shine. In experience, I would always say stay away from adding too long sentences. Always bullet points is the most clearer to see, and say things clear and concise and to the point. I did this using tech stack Y. So I being like very clear on what exactly you achieved. And here is where I'm going to say, use the word I. 5-10 years before, it was very famous to use the word we because you were showing that you're part of a team. But now people want to see what exactly was your participation, what did you exactly bring to a project. So they need to know what you did. When it comes to tech stack, it's always good to have a summary of the tech stack at the top of the CV, but include it in each role. Because some people say, okay, you have used Databricks, but have you used it only in your last role for 1 year, or have you used it throughout your experience, throughout your career for 5 years? So that is also going to help them decide if they're going to take you forward or not. Another important thing, of course, team collaboration and stakeholder management. Most people are still looking for good communication skills. Even if some IT people are more introverts, they still want to make sure that you're able to hold a conversation. So you can add a bit of the team, either leadership or just communication or leading projects, anything that you've done, mentoring junior members, it's still good to have on there. Of course, education and certifications, those can go a bit at the back, and you can still find time to be a bit witty, adding your languages, your hobbies, anything that can step you out from the crowd. But again, not more than 2 pages. So try to fit everything in 2 pages. If you have a career of 20 plus years, then add the 3-4 major recent experiences and then just a summary of the rest. You don't need to have 6-7 pages CVs because nobody's going to look at them. Nobody has that time anymore, especially when you get 200 applications in the first day of posting a job. This is on the side of the CV. A good cover letter. I know that this is something very painful, and I understand it completely. But it can be a game changer. I would say use a couple of templates and have them for different industries or for different roles. If you say you apply for an analytics engineer and a data engineer and a data analyst, they are different ones. But if you make it personal, if you put in the effort and investigate the company, and you know what their vision is and you can relate to it, that already steps you out from the crowd. I know some companies don't even read the cover letter, but then what this does is you spending those 5 minutes tailoring properly a good cover letter prepares you for the first interview even. It happened to me in the past that I applied to 20 jobs in one day, and then somebody calls me and says immediately, like, what made you apply to our job? And I had no idea what the company was about anymore because I applied to 20. So that, even doing this cover letter, kind of sets that company in your mind, and it gives you a bit this knowledge that you can take forward with you in the next process. Interviewing. This is also something that I can help you with, but it's always good to be yourself. The most important, and I tell all this to all the companies I work with, the tech stack can be learned, but a personality, a person's quality, values are more important, and the cultural fit to the team is more important than what tech stack you can bring to the table. Of course, you need to know what you're doing, but still you have to live in a team, in an environment, and make yourself liked and appreciated and valued there. So first is be yourself. If you're shy, feel free to admit it. Look, I'm a bit nervous. This is my first interview. Or just show humanity, show that you're not a robot. Of course, everybody's nervous to go through an interview. Just accept it and move forward. Smile, of course. This actually reminds me to smile a bit more as well. A smile goes a long way indeed, because it shows that you have the positivity to move forward. Before even the interview, I would say prepare a catchy short introduction, and that's of maximum 2 minutes. I tell my candidates sometimes even to time themselves, because it can happen that somebody's going to start talking for 10 minutes, and it's like watching a TV. You're trying to like stop that person and you don't know when to interrupt him. So 2 minutes of introducing yourself professionally and personally. You can even mention a bit about what you like doing in your free time, but just keep it short and fun and funny. When you get questions about certain things that you haven't done, again, be yourself. If you haven't done them, it's absolutely fine. Not everybody in the world knows everything. So you can always say, look, I have not used Python for programming, but I'm really expert in Scala and Java, so I can definitely pick it up. Or with a similar tool in the past, I managed to study it, and within 2 days, I was able to program in it. So I believe that I can definitely pick it up in time while starting the role with you guys. So you don't have to lie, because you're going to be caught in a lie saying, oh, I've used it 10 years ago and I don't remember. Because if you get a follow-up question, you're going to trip, and you're not going to look good if you've lied that you know something. But admitting also shows that you're just human, and it's fine and it's normal, but you have the capacity to think outside the box and research and learn and do things by yourself. And no matter what, because this is a question that gets a lot in interviews, why are you looking for a new job? Why are you leaving your current employer? Do not talk bad about your previous employer. And I've heard horror stories. I've heard of toxic workplaces, but it's never a good image to start talking really, really bad stuff about your manager or about your company. It's always saying there was not a match on values, or I believe that I can grow in a better company, in a better role. There are more learning opportunities with your company. And later on, after you're hired, if you want to have a heart-to-heart, you can explain like, there were some things that were not sitting well with me, and that's why I wanted to change the environment. Never in the interviewing stage. That's not a good image, because it can show that you're a bit of a complainer, or it can show that you can, not that you can be, but they can consider that you can be a difficult person to work with. And this is not the time to raise that in their mind. All right. There are more than one ways to be active on the job market. We all go on LinkedIn and apply to jobs, but the market has been tough, and it's not easy. You might apply to 100 and still not get anywhere. So what I would say is do a bit of background work to try to improve your chances. For example, increase your direct network. So add people to your LinkedIn account, as many as you can in the area that you want. So add hiring managers of data engineering, of AI, of anything that you want to do going forward, just by increasing your network and then posting articles that you find interesting, something about OpenAI or whatever you feel passionate about. Those people are going to see that you're a person that wants to have a conversation. Post your achievements, certificates if you have. Even get in touch and send them a message. Hey, I know you're not hiring at the moment, but just to let you know, I'm a candidate in data engineering, and I would love to hear from you if you ever need somebody that is very strong in data streaming. Something like that. Just send. Most replies are going to be no, but maybe 1 month from now, that hiring manager is going to need a person, and you're going to be at the top of their mind. There's a technique, I'm not sure how many people heard of it, and I can show you. It's very easy. It's a Boolean technique, so basically adding code words of what you want to know, because a simple LinkedIn search brings you certain roles, but then if you refine your search, can find you exactly the roles that you're looking for. So let's say you want Azure Cloud, or you want Python, or you want Kafka. It's easier to just add all the code words either in LinkedIn or in Google or in any other search engines, and things are going to come at the top of your search list with more roles than the usual LinkedIn algorithm can do for you. And as always, apparently in times of hardship and in the last 2 years, most people got their jobs through referrals. So ask your friends, ask acquaintances, go into a Data+Women community and say, hey, I'm open for a new opportunity. Do you guys know anything? Can you refer me to your hiring manager? And that does help. And people trust you differently when you come from a reliable source rather than just applying on a job board. These are just a few tips and tricks. I'm aware that I'm already at the time, so it's just a small myth about recruitment agencies, because I've heard a lot of people that had bad experiences. We, at least some of the good ones, want the best for you. They can offer you all the job information, the market information. They have a big group of people that they can talk to, other companies that they can share your profile with. Different communication goes between them and the hiring managers that can put you ahead. They can prepare you for interviews in a better way, and what to say and how to behave and what to answer, even if you're a bit stuck on certain difficult questions like, oh, you've had 3 years sabbatical, how do you explain that? We can basically teach you a bit better how to react to those things. And again, you don't have to pay us whatsoever. The company that hires does, and we usually, the more you get paid, so we can negotiate your salary, and the more you get paid, we get paid. So it's in our interest to get you the best possible deal while being realistic and not hurting your chances of being hired. So this would be overall what I had in mind of sharing with you guys today. It's more just learn from every experience that you have, any connection, any interview that doesn't go well. It's still like an insight on what to improve. Every no is a lesson. At least you know to go look elsewhere. But definitely every person you speak to can have an impact in your life, like Timmy had in mine, and I'm now loving this cooperation as well. So just be open-minded and keep your learning opportunities high. I almost made it in time. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I don't see any questions in the chat, but maybe if someone on the call has any, feel
They
free
can
to.
always reach out to me later as well. No pressure, but I'm here to help.
That was very interesting, especially the insight into the skills that are currently on the market, hot on the market. So.
I have one question which I always wanted to ask. Do you guys use AI, an AI tool to screen the CVs?
At the moment, no, but indeed we're looking into that on how to streamline a bit more our processes. But yeah, definitely I've asked also for trainings and more into AI here as well to help us with that. All right, then thank you ladies so much. Feel free to reach out whenever you have any questions, and I'm here at all times.
Thank you very much, Andrea. That was very interesting. And I hope useful for everyone on the call. If maybe someone is currently considering a switch, or maybe knows someone who considering to look for another job. I think we can move on then, if there are no questions at this point, to the panel discussion. We have three great ladies who will share their experience on being on the other side, let's say, so of the recruitment process, of being the the people who apply for jobs and get them. So let me introduce then the panel speakers, and we can start discussing how to build your career in data. And as I said earlier, if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll bring them in. So let's introduce people first. So we have Zhang, who is a senior data engineer at Leaseplan and Leaseplan Ayvens. We have Elizabetta Lazzaroni, who is a global performance management and analytics lead at Takeda. And then we have Simona Loffredo, who is a senior consultant at the Information Lab here in the Netherlands. And as you can see, we have diverse representatives, so we can hear different experiences and different views on what does it mean to build your career in data. So I think let's start maybe just with the general question, why did you even decide to go and find a job in data? How did you end up in this career? And I will see Sai as the first on my screen. So I'll go to you, Sai, and give you the floor. So maybe if you can just introduce yourself, just a couple of sentences, what exactly do you do and how maybe what kind of background do you have? How did you find yourself in data world?
Yeah, so yeah, first of all, nice to meet you for everyone. So yeah, I've been working actually like 10 years in data fields. It was actually accidentally, I just stepped in the data, to be honest. I was an analyst before, digital analyst, and then slowly transacted myself into more coding and more technical role, and now becoming a data engineer for my last. I've been working on data engineer for my last few years. Yeah, and I would say, yeah, this is something I really think right now really fits my profile, because the more I get in data fields, the more I really like it. I more know about how, for example, AI works and how this whole big data and how company actually use data. It actually motivated me to get even more into the data field. So yeah, this is a little bit about my data experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the more you learn, the deeper you get into that.
Yeah, you just get yourself involved and you think, oh wow, this is something really you are actually contribute in the society, and you are actually bringing the data that can help other people to get insights, or it can help the business. It's just a really rewarding thing, I would say.
Yeah. And let's now hear from Elizabetta. So Elizabetta is a global performance management and analytics lead. So it would be interesting to understand also what you do in your world.
Yeah.
And how did you find yourself in data?
I have a background in statistics, so my university degrees was already very tailored into analytics and data. And I started in Italy because I'm basically coming from Italy, where I was working in automotive. And around 5 years ago, I moved into pharma. And basically there I moved into different roles, and it always was about insights lead. So basically really giving the business leader, giving the higher level of the companies really the insights they needed to drive the full company. And that's basically what I'm also having fun too. So it comes a bit naturally to work in that field somehow.
Yeah. And now let's switch to another representative of the beautiful Italian peninsula. And Simona, if you can share how you chose to be working in data and what do you do?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Anya. So it was actually a little bit of luck to stumble into the Information Lab back in 2015. I was working already for 3 years in management consulting back then, and I really wanted to move towards data and analytics. In Italy, at that time, there were not many opportunities, to be fair, so I started to look into the UK and London, and I think I found one of the blogs from Andy Kriebel talking about something really cool. I was like, oh, I want to do what he does. And then, that's how basically I moved to London, started the data school program, which is a training on data and analytics. And that's where my data and analytics career took off back in 2015. Since then, I've been through different roles, which each change made sense to bring me where I am now. which is back to the information lab, but in the Netherlands, where I moved 1 year ago. Currently, my role, I'm a bit of a hybrid because I'm working as a consultant for customers for part of my time, but I'm also given the opportunity to develop the skills I really want to, which are management skills, so leading people towards their project, towards their development, and this is the direction where I want to grow in the future. So becoming a manager and leading people to success through their projects.
Yeah, it's very interesting how we have very diverse kind of aspects of the same field. And I wanted to bring it back to Andreea, what you were saying about different skills that are currently in demand. And maybe if I go back to Sai, and what can you say, maybe specifically for data engineering, but what do you think are the essential skills currently in data that will lead you to success? And I'm interested not maybe necessarily in specific technical aspects, but also about the soft skills, let's call them this way.
Yeah. I think soft skills is that you actually can understand what people want. So we had a lot of cases that people come with us with, okay, I want this data. But when we ask more about what exactly they want, they don't know exactly what they want. So I think a soft skill that you need is you also are understand the situation. You can actually have more like analytic mind to question your customer, question your stakeholders, and guide them to understand what exactly wants. Because some of them they're not technical. If you're analyst or you're scientists or engineers, you are more technical than them, that you have to guide them. You need to explain what you're doing, because you're talking with non-technical people. Sometimes you have to explain them what you actually do with the simple languages. And also, well, if you are talking about more actually skill that you need to learn to become in this career, I think, for example, the basics is SQL. So SQL, that is something that if you want to work in this field, Excel is definitely not an option anymore. So you have to know SQL, and that's a start. And then, of course, you depends on where you want to go. You want to do more engineering, and then you need to be really knowing Python. If you don't, you can also do, for example, Tableau or Power BI, and be more analytics instead of engineering. Yeah, so this is, I think, the skill that you should acquire if you want to step in data field.
And I want to direct this question now to Elizabetta, because you mentioned that you had a lot of different experiences. So you didn't really work maybe necessarily specifically in data before, but you did work in different industries working with data. So what do you think? What kind of skills helped you to be successful?
For sure, one of the skills that it's required is really understanding your stakeholder, because just giving an analysis without having the real scope, the real goal of your stakeholder, it's not really relevant for everyone. And second, it's also really like defining a bit your niche. So in my case, one of the big trigger was really like also I worked a lot with SAP, so I know how SAP is structured and visualizing the data from SAP. So that helps us a lot, and also driving the insights that are really meaningful for the business, connecting the different areas of the company, like branding, especially commercial and supply chain. It's also very important because you can connect different teams and try to leverage the different needs of the teams. So other than the technical, that for me, it's a bit a given if you want to work in data. For sure, also having this understanding of the stakeholders, it's absolutely something to develop to have a good career in this field, let's say.
Thank you. And let's maybe go into more of a personal side, not only skills, but also how do you present yourself before. And again, going back to what Andreea was saying, that the first step is your CV. But can you do something else before company even sees your CV? So how can maybe a personal brand can help you to succeed? So I can maybe start with Simona this time and here, especially
Absolutely.
maybe working with different clients. How do you
Yeah.
position yourself?
Yeah, for sure, personal branding in our world matter. So if you, I don't know, if you go to events, networking events or conferences, right? So to try and make, so for sure, keeping, let's say, the old connection alive, right? So the old people you already know, all customers, ex-colleagues, all friends, right? But also making sure that you create new connections, right? Not only because it's useful, but also because it's amazing, right? To learn from these people what they're up to, what they're doing, and then they will remember you because if you ask, interesting questions, if you're curious about them, they will remember your face and your name. And actually, I have a very recent example. Last year, I think it was here in Amsterdam, one of the Data+Women event, which was held at Randstad office. So I talked with those people from Randstad, and 1 year later, I'm working with them on a project as a consultant. And as soon as they saw me, oh, you, Simona, really nice to see you. What's going on? Why are you here? So indeed, the creating the connections, right? Creating your personal brand, right? So is definitely key.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. That kind of keeping in touch with people and building the network is a really useful thing. I want to direct this.
Sorry,
Sorry.
Anya. And Amsterdam is small.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
I have examples from the UK as well, but I thought this was the most recent, and it was kind of, interesting, right?
interesting.
But
Yeah.
in the UK happened as well, so definitely super important.
I think Amsterdam is small, but also data community and data field is also not as large as it maybe sometimes seems. So it is quite important to build this brand. And I want to direct this question to Sai because I was curious, you saying that you transitioned slowly but surely to more data engineering type of things that involve more coding. Have you somehow, how did it influence you positioning yourself in terms of your personal brand maybe?
Yeah, so I actually started my journey 10 years ago as a digital analyst. So basically was doing, well, and this, sorry, it actually is marketing analyst. So at that time, we're using Excel files. And, I got a lot of struggles with deep data getting bigger and bigger and Excel file crashes. And then I start thinking, okay, I need some other tools. Excel file doesn't work. And then I started checking online, looking at, okay, there's like something called SQL. Okay, that thing actually can manage with bigger data. And then I transact into digital analyst. Then data is getting even bigger. And then I think, okay, SQL can be a really good one. And then I also learned Python that time, thinking, okay, that is also creating something even more fancier. And then they're just getting to myself, getting a little bit coding, beginning with some courses, and then I actually changed my journey in 2019 when I came to Netherlands and was working in that time as data analyst still. However, my work started getting a little bit more technical. So that time we are not only analyze data, we also have to introduce data into our data set and actually use the data we introduced from a data source. So that is the time I actually started to understand how data engineering work is. What is good data engineering work? And then we have this kind of opportunity to work with AWS, Snowflake, and I just feel like, okay, this is really interesting because I'm enjoying very much when I brought the data from the source or from the messy source. You just clean the data and you finally automate the data to use. That is something really enjoyable, actually. And then I just getting very into it and started doing even more like the courses about data engineering. And then, so 3 years ago, I joined Leaseplan, become a hardcore data engineer. And that is actually, I really find out this is something that I really like to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate. I started with dashboards and now I'm a data engineer as well. So I can relate to this kind of technical side of work.
Yeah.
That's very nice that you actually gave me a great segue to my next question in terms of how do you keep up with the things that are happening around in data world? How do you keep your skills up to date? So I'll go now to Simona this time. She will be the first one to answer this question. How do you keep up with everything changing in the data field?
Yeah, it's not always simple, right? Because there is so much noise sometimes, so much going on that you need to decide what to pick, right? So you cannot become the expert of everything. That's not possible, right? So for myself, what I typically do is, understanding my motivation, right? So there is no flake. What's my motivation to learn it, right? So why is it helpful for my career or for being a consultant, right? And then I try to put some time aside for learning, which can be quite difficult sometimes, right? Because of work and the family and everything, but it's just a matter of blocking your calendar sometime, couple of hours, do a little bit of learning, and then move forward. Sometimes it might be difficult to apply what you've learned, right? So it might be that for a while you actually won't be able to use it. So my tip there will be try to get involved into a little project, perhaps even an internal project where some people are using that application, and maybe you can volunteer and say, oh, I'm learning this. I would like to, apply what I'm learning. Can I help? Right? So how can I help? Right? So trying to pick up things you're interested that are, new technologies or new ways of working even, and step by step integrate it into your flow of work.
Yeah. And Elizabetta, what do you think? How do you approach keeping up with the new things?
Normally, that's when I leverage a lot of the conferences and also speaking a lot with my peers, because it's always good to spend some time also with your peers, with other level of the company, understanding what they struggle with. So that it's my networking side of the job. I try to really network while checking out a bit what other people have struggled with, what are their solutions, and basically dealing with the two, plus having some insights on how they deal with their problems and learn from it.
Would you recommend any conference that's coming up so we can keep an eye
At
on
the
that?
moment, I don't have such a big focus on new conferences, also because I changed basically company a bit more than half a year ago. So I'm really focusing a lot on my internal network. I did some conferences at the beginning of the year, first quarter, but now I'm really focusing a lot also internally. But as you said, it's also because of the brand, personal brand. You have also to build the brand internally in the company. And a huge organization takes some time. So I'm really trying to focus internally and see what are the challenges that we have.
Yeah, that's again another great segue. So we were talking about how it is great to work in data, and we really enjoy doing all these things. But surely it's not all roses. So what's the most challenging thing you think you have in your career as a data person, and how do you deal with that? So maybe I'll go to Sai again.
Yeah, so the most challenging thing is, of course, the non-stop technologies that we are having every year. Like you just said, like especially for us, because we're having a really technical role, and so all the tools, and it's like non-stop too. You have every year different tools for data orchestration, different tool for analytics, different tool that can integrate into cloud, and every year you have different let's say like features that if you learn AWS, Azure, every year you have different feature you have to learn. So I think it's really challenging part that you do need to have time to keep up yourself. It's not like if you want to really do a good job in data field, you should never stop learning. that is something that we should really do that. Even it's tired, especially if someone have kids. I understand the struggle because I just actually had a 1-year baby, and I understand the struggle is really tiring, but you still need to keep it up. It's really challenging. And I think one thing that I think is very challenging is that that you have a lot of pressure coming from this data field, because nowadays everything is going so fast, and also you have a lot of, you probably have a lot of stakeholders you need to manage, a lot of projects that you're same hands you have to deliver in different. This is, I think, also is very challenging part in my work. For example, I have to always have a lot of tasks in the same time, everything you need to meet with a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, in this case, we always have to prioritize our work. But I think, this is for me the most challenging parts.
What about you, Elizabetta? You mentioned you started talking about the challenges.
I would say always people. Sorry to say, because the truth is true. It's a challenge for my perspective, but it's something that depends on your time, on your willingness to learn. While having an environment, for example, that doesn't really evaluate the data because it's still a lot going through gut feeling, or that doesn't want to optimize processes because the data could look bad for the next year, even if in the long run you would have an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
This for me, it's the real challenge when I come with a new analysis, because I also have to sell a bit why it's so important to tackle the specific problem. But that's personal. It's really like, I think it depends a lot on personality too. But I would say people, it's my challenge.
Will be much easier without people. What do you think, Simona, for you? What's the most challenging bit?
Let's say moving people from, let's say, old ways of working to new ways of working sometimes can be a struggle. In particular, if there's not a motivation, right? There's not a leadership change management in place. So that is really, really difficult. In general, people don't like change, right? So if you say someone, oh, now we have this amazing analysis that you can use and it updates automatically, you just click here and filter and so on. And then they look at their Excel, but they know their Excel, right? So it's really uncomfortable to change to the new way. That's just a silly example, but it can go much deeper, right? Like in general, like in the ways of working, which sometimes might be an obstacle or a risk for a project. So indeed, people and changing, convincing them to change from old to new is challenging.
Yeah. And speaking about change, actually, my last question, I think, before we maybe open floor for some questions, if there are any, but how do you think in maybe next 12 to 16 months, how do you think your role might change in data? Maybe let's start with Elizabetta. More, I think, not maybe from the personal point of view, but more from just in general the industry impact in your role point of view.
Depends a lot on how deep the analysis that you do are. And I also think the industry, it's very optimistic. Everyone is very optimistic about the speed, about the quality of the output. So basically, I would say we have still a long way to go before replacing anything with AI, for example, or with other tool. And frankly speaking, I also really think we need more and more data engineers, because that is where we struggle a lot today, because we have models that are learning from data. So that is that is for sure one of the things we could tackle it in the future, and that will have more and more openings as soon as the industry realize that.
Yeah. So let's now pass to the data engineer, the position and demand side. What do you think? How do you see your role might be changing?
I'm actually not so sure because, like, I was just sometimes like browsing around like LinkedIn about the roles, about the job openings. And I definitely think now data engineer role is less than like a couple years ago. Maybe Andrea also mentioned. And so now I'm having a doubt whether the companies still do need that much data engineers. Because let's say a lot of tools has been comes out in the market and you can replace the complex of in building ETL, ELT behind the scene. So for example, like you have Fivetran and you have Matomo, you have those tools, they're very intelligent and you don't have to build a pipeline anymore. You just need to configure your host, your password, and everything is just to start do it, start sync it. And then you are thinking, okay, if that is replacing our work, and maybe in the future it will be less and less data engineering work getting involved. Maybe Andrea can tell me more about that, but I just didn't feeling maybe in the future my job might be slowly taken over by those very intelligent tools. So maybe also I could go a little bit like, I was just thinking maybe in a few futures, I would want to be a solution architect because those roles might be less easy to be replaced by data engineers or data scientists. That is what I see my role in maybe in a few years. Maybe Andrea, you could, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, actually, you're right, but still, like I see the data engineering still being the backbone for the next 5 years. What I'm seeing decreasing is the need for data scientists because they basically need a machine learning engineer that can communicate well or something like that. So you still need to have like stronger tech stack and less communication. And while in the past it was one data scientist to four data engineers, I see that some of the data engineers in a company can take over the data science role easily by becoming just a lead in that team, and then you no longer need the data scientist. But it is a good point, and a lot of my very experienced candidates are moving into solutions architecture because basically all that architecture, you still need to have all the data engineering background to be able to propose changes within the company. So yes, that would be a perfect next step for you, Saiden.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And I'll pass it on to Simona as well. So Simona, how do you think your role might change in the year or so?
I think, let's say, on one side, I'm seeing probably my role changing more towards being less and less technical and more closer, let's say, to the business, right, to deliver those insights and those to be able to extract the key information even more and even suggest the actions, right, to the business. So becoming closer to the stakeholder decision-making processes. And one hope that I have, because from so far, at least from my experience, is that the gap, let's say, between the data engineering world and the visual analytics world, which sometimes can be a little bit difficult to conciliate. It seems sometimes in certain companies there are silos, right? There are the data engineers and then there are the data analysts or the visual analysts. I hope that that gap actually will close and people will be able to collaborate better to be more efficient and deliver the right insights on time.
Well, that's a very hopeful idea to close our panel, I think, on. Do we have any questions either in the group? I don't see anything in the chat, but if anyone on the call
It doesn't have to be for now, but I was actually wanting your opinion on where do you see the ethics of AI going forward. But again, I think it's a longer conversation, maybe for a different session. But yeah, that's something that I'm also very interested in, as you said, with the training models and them being biased on certain information. I think that is going to take on in the future. But where do you see it going, and do you see it in your companies already taken into account, or it's not yet so important?
Elizabetta.
Yeah. In my company, we have, of course, a lot of processes, and we step really heavily in creating also policies to treat artificial intelligence in an ethical way. What we use the AI in our company, basically, it's already internally developed or made expressly for us, so that we are sure that whatever we create is internal only. So no data are given outside, nothing comes out of our company, and so on. For sure, there are more. What I can see that there are more and more guidelines. Internally, we really define processes. Even from a personal perspective, if we use AI, never use that in a specific way. If you use especially the company laptop, and avoid really to share whatever company related to an artificial intelligence tool, whatever it is. We are for sure getting there. For now, it's not accurate. We have also the government that are setting up some good guidelines, I would say. At least here in Europe, we are on a good also shape, from my perspective.
Do Sari or Simona, do you have any comments on that? What do you think?
Was a question about
The ethics of using AI, and
Yeah.
if your company is already using it or making some kind of steps to understand how to use it ethically?
Well, to be really honest, I think AI is a buzzword, very popular. However, not every company actually know how AI works, and also they don't know bring AI. You need the data. They tend to hiring some, let's say, for example, like they tend to, let's say, hire a lot of some company might be they tend to hire some data scientists or like AI engineers, but however they don't understand we actually also need data engineer or data architects to actually bring in good data, and then you can train your model. So yeah, for me, I think AI is used quite more and more, but I think we still have a very long way to go for all the companies, because still we don't know how AI can actually do the work, and also we don't trust AI. Nobody trusts AI 100%. You cannot put AI in you can put AI in your recommendation system, but you cannot put in your AI in self-driving. You cannot trust it 100%. So yeah, AI is popular, but still it's long way to go, I would say.
Actually, Elizabetta was there in present when we were in a pharma conference. I was in a panel, and they asked the same question. And during these 2 days of conference, only we heard AI, 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 Gen AI, LLM, and it is buzzwords. And they asked me the question, "What do you think?" I was like, "I'm going to hit in a face another senior leader if he comes again to me. Oh, we have to do AI." So it's been, especially in pharma, it's been around, and it's just a huge buzzword. And AI is still hallucinating. We cannot use that properly, only in inside. And I always talk about that it happened in my company, in pharma, in another biotech. We had pathology samples they created an image net for it. So images, training the model, what is a cancerous cell in the pathology sample or not. So what they did, they photographed it with a ruler on it. So they trained the model incorrectly. Because the model thought that, okay, which has associated the ruler with the cancerous cell. So whenever the ruler appeared, they said it has a cancer, the pathology. So it's up to garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, from my side, it was more that it's exactly, I have the same feeling as you. Everybody's talking about the AI and the future possibilities and everything that is coming at stake, but nobody's talking about the energy needed to train those models, the biased information that the models are using, and that there is harm coming from that. And we need to keep an eye, and like Elizabetta was saying, have guidelines and regulations on how to use it. And I believe that every company should have an AI ethicist going forward. But again, Netherlands is still catching up with the rest of the world, and they're still confused about these roles overall in the data world. So it's coming, but maybe a bit slower than in the rest of the world. But yeah, it was more to see your perspective, as in, do you already implement it? Do you have it under control? Or is it at least a topic of discussion in your management meetings that AI still needs to be relatively controlled and have a clear picture, a more realistic picture of AI, not just the buzzwords.
But do you think? I don't know whether Andrea, for example, in the world globally, the Netherlands can be one of the best to use AI country, or still not. I don't know whether you have like a ranking of which country is most advanced in the AI technologies.
What I know is, like, overall in the IT, in the tech market, US is leading, and usually UK is trying to catch up so they don't look like they don't know what they're doing. But from my point of view, just working with Dutch companies, and when people say, I want a machine learning engineer, or I want this, but I need that person to be able to do from containerization to orchestration to everything, then I'm like, so you don't really want a machine learning engineer. So that's where I'm trying to do my own research and be able to challenge them and say, so you don't want this person, you want a different person. So let's update your job description and let's try to find the people that can do this for you. You don't want an AI engineer right now. What you need is a data engineer with skills or with capability to change in the future. So that's where I was coming from.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So we are getting closer to the end of our event, and we do have still a very exciting presentation from Simona about Tableau Conference. So I'll pass, Simona, to you the floor, but I also want to hear maybe if you have any opinion on the AI, and because you work with different companies, you might see different approaches.
Yeah, no, I mean, so far there is a big vibe and a big buzz around it, but the first step is to govern the data, right, and make sure that the data is the data is there and is reliable, right? So most of the companies don't trust their data, so I will close with that.
I would like to add something to that, because what you're saying, Simona, is exactly what I'm recognizing as well from the market, in the sense that I am actually pretty happy that there is a buzz. It's pushing us to have the conversation about the deeper issue, the deeper or the more essence of the topic, which is, how is your data looking? Are you even ready to do data analysis, let alone talking about AI expertise? And I am fulfilling a role as an AI solution partner or manager, as we would like to call it. And that's more to help customers or partners find out where their actual AI need is from the front end, not talking about machine learning or training models, but more in the usability of it all and how can you actually put it into place, whether you are needing an actual operational excellence or integration in the core business, And those conversations I find super interesting to have at the moment with the various stakeholders all around.
Yeah, for sure, it's kind of encouraging to reflect on the backend side, right? Is your data in the right place? Is your data correct, right? How are you making sure it's correct, and what processes do you have, and so on, right? So it opens that conversation, which sometimes it's difficult to have. Indeed, hopefully it will encourage companies to do more on that side.
Yeah, I think it also adds with what you ladies were saying earlier about soft skills being needed, that the biggest challenge is the human and the biggest challenge is the person. That's just going to be exponentially more required, I think, once there's more AI integration, because when you try to break that down into a solution that's usable by people, it only gets more challenging. I mean, if we can't even increase adoption,
I think we lost Qatar.
Yeah.
Are we losing her?
I think she might have some issues with internet again. Yeah.
Yeah, she's frozen.
Yeah, and then she left.
Let's move to Simona.
Let's move to the final part, the presentation on what has happened in the Tableau conference in San Diego.
Yes, absolutely. Let me quickly share my screen, and hopefully I'm sharing the right screen.
And I think we have a good side path, because I'm sure they were talking about AI again.
Always.
Sure.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
And yeah, good guess. All right. So, sorry. Tableau Conference 2024. So, I was pretty lucky this year, actually, to go to the Tableau Conference in US for the first time. I've attended a couple in Europe, in London before. So this was my first experience of a Tableau conference in the US, and it was held in San Diego at the end of April. Well, end of April, beginning of May. This is when I departed from Amsterdam Schiphol. So there was horrible weather, raining, cold. I was like, oh, luckily I'm going to sunny California. And on the right-hand side, we can see Valeria, my daughter. She was getting ready to celebrate Koningsdag, because it was on the 27th of April, so King's Day. So yeah, I thought that was too cute to not put it in here. Landed in San Diego on a Saturday afternoon, right? So completely different view to the rain in Amsterdam, very sunny and bright. Lots of palms from the airport, and we already embarked in our first boat trip to the other side of San Diego Bay. It was super cool, very warm, sunny, beautiful. And then we got ready to pick up our badges at the San Diego Convention Center, which was the venue of the conference. And we walked a lot in that convention center. I must say, my feet still hurt today. That's where the convention center was, just for context. So it's really central in San Diego, just in front of the water of the bay. Nice place. And this is when I first entered the conference.
You were in Little Italy, literally. You went back home.
Yes, I went back home. Oh, yes. Almost in Little Italy. First approach to the conference. So after entering the convention center, I headed to the data village, just to see how it looked like. It was really nice, colorful. And I don't know if you see, but all these little stars are like things that people could actually write, and I don't know, like wishes or words that they cared for, and attach it to the huge data world, our favorite word. And just to give a bit of context, right, what the conference entailed, 3 full days of sessions, including, hands-on sessions, use cases, customer success stories, and of course, lots of Tableau Pulse and AI. The keynote, which I must say this year I really enjoyed it, really, really nice. I always enjoyed it, but this year I thought it was, there were some points that were really strong, in particular regarding the roadmap and the vision, right? So the future of Tableau and the devs on stage. The Iron Bees, I don't know if you had the chance to watch it, but the competition was very interesting, really fun to watch. If you haven't watched it, I encourage you to go and look for it, as well as for the keynote, both worth it. Another highlight were the community meetings, included the Data+Women. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend the Sunday evening event because there was another event I had to attend to, but there was basically a space in the Data Village where all the community meetings were happening, not only Data+Women, but data in sports, the data LGBTQI community, and so on. And networking, that was also another highlight, right? So meeting new people, meeting all colleagues, ex-clients, and so on. That was also a very important part. But I want to bring this highlight, right? So the devs on stage for me was one of the most incredible things to see it live. Basically, it's Tableau developers that come on the stage and showcase certain new features that are coming up. And there is some AI in here, like the Einstein Copilot, that I think is a nice addition to the platform because it will help it will help everyone in reality, but in particular people that are starting on Tableau, to guide them a bit more through building and composable data source, which I'm sure everyone is looking forward to that, which means reusing data sources, use data sources that are already published on Tableau Cloud or server to combine them together, basically. Some new fonts and some new additions to the data accessibility with the keyboard navigation. These extensions, which is also worth mentioning, which is coming really soon, and setting up goals in Tableau Pulse, which is also something many customers are looking for. In general, my favorite things, right, just to close a little bit, were part of the keynote. So again, if you haven't watched the keynote, go and watch it. I will provide the link at the end to the Salesforce Plus, but the concept of the 4 waves of analytics, right? So the CEO of Tableau walked through basically the past, so the original idea of BI, the present, in particular related, of course, to the 20 years of Tableau, and the present of Tableau, celebrating a lot the community, the data family. The wave 3, which is the future, right? So the next couple of years where they see AI being at the center, right, of discussion. And then the vision, so where actually they see Tableau going. And that was quite a visionary part. And then I've put here some features that I thought were, will be nice to have, and maybe, seeing them evolve, like Tableau Pulse, seeing it evolve in the future will be very interesting. So I mentioned already the Einstein Copilot, composable data sources, and this extension. One I didn't mention because it was not brought up in the devs on stage slide is the Tableau Public Desktop Edition, which means that finally people that use Tableau Public will be able to save locally on their computer their work, and not necessarily doing that on publishing it to Tableau Public itself. So that was actually a nice highlight from the keynote. And yeah, lastly but not least, this is a picture I took from the data night out. Was legendary party, to be honest, in this splendid location called the Shell. Lots of data people, having fun, relaxing after, a hard day at the conference. Well, hard day relatively, but indeed an intense day, let's say. And that was really, really fun. And yeah, so this is the something, that you should definitely look at, Salesforce Plus, right? Where you can find on demand some of the sessions, most of them, I believe, as well as keynote and so on. So I recommend to head there and dig a bit deeper into the content if you're interested, of course. Yeah, and that's actually everything from me. I hope I stayed into the 5 to 10 minutes slot. I will stop sharing my screen.
Yes, thank you very much, Simona. That was a nice view. I think Remco, from just people on the call, has been there, but I don't think other people were there. So it was nice to kind of lead through your pictures and see how it was in real life.
I knew they're gonna put a big party.
It's every year. That's the tradition.
Did they talk about the competitors? How they gonna manage with the competitors?
How do you mean? Sorry.
I don't know. Your kid is shouting like it's somebody's.
I know.
Like somebody's killing her.
She's having fun, I guess.
Did they even address the competitors? What they think that Tableau is going to be better with the competitors?
Not specifically mentioning the competition, right? So that's always, I think, in their line, right? I think with sorry, the screaming is a little bit high, but I think just to quickly answer to you there, Tamia. Competition was not mentioned, but I was quite inspired by the vision, right? So I'm not going to discuss this in detail right now, but the part of the keynote where the chief of product spoke about the vision of Tableau is worth looking, and the points he made around trying to break the gaps, right? To try to break the data culture gaps, the sometimes the fragmented parts of the product, and so on, through that visions. I think there you will find a bit your answer with more technical details.
Yeah, and Remco was saying in the chat that they're integrating with Teams and Microsoft. So
yeah, so the concept of bringing data into the flow of work, right, which is something missing now, honestly. So that's for sure a big step forward.
Yeah, I knew it. Like when I saw it that it's going to be a Fabric and Teams, I knew it. They are going for that niche. I knew it because obviously most of the companies, they are using Teams, and it has an integration with Slack. So
yeah, I guess maybe there's a conflict of interest a little bit there. I don't know.
Yeah, quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
It totally made sense that they started off with Slack as well.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how they would address that, to be honest. But yeah, clearly a bit of a conflict.
For that,
And-
you need to go to conference next year.
Are they changing the pricing, or is gonna stay as it is?
No mention on the pricing side. Yeah, so cannot answer there.
Okay. We are exactly at 6:29, which is perfect timing. Thank you again, Simona, for the recap, but also for participating in the panel, and Zhang and Elizabetta. That was very nice to hear your experiences and your backgrounds. And Andreea, that was very interesting to hear some insights into what companies are looking for and how do you position yourself to get ahead. So yeah, I'll share the link to Salesforce Plus if you want to see the sessions from the conference, and I also share the link to the group so you can subscribe and see new events that are coming up. We are planning some in-person events, I think in autumn already, giving some summertime to everyone. But if there's anything more shortly will come up, we will post it on the page, and if you subscribe, you get the notification. If you do have any questions or want to somehow collaborate again, please reach out, and we will be always happy to work with all of you.
Yeah, just will Andreea share the partnering with us?
Yeah, sorry, with me?
Yeah. Could you please share the PowerPoint with us?
Yeah, I will. I will maybe after this because it's still
Okay.
in a pitch platform. So I will do that later.
Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thank
you
you,
very much.
ladies, so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
Yeah. Bye.
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 Bye.